wrote a poem the other week. Although I committed the ultimate sin by convincing myself I'd remember what to write down and say. The best laid plans of mice and men mean nothing if paper never meets the pen. All I do remember is that I was sitting alone in the park, lost in my own brain, and as the sun shone down, for a brief moment, I wasn't lost in thought because nothing mattered. I was simply living in that exact point in time of peace and quiet. The cynicism stripped away momentarily from my brain, and all I heard was the sound of birds replacing any thought that tried to deafen me. Contentment, the only word to describe it. But like all good things, they eventually come to an end. So unfortunately with that, my euphoric utopia was invaded. Because regrettably, reality appears to always continue to unavoidably happen. Getting distracted by fractures in practice. What I witnessed was a man standing there releasing birds into the sky until a big enough flock formed, beginning to circle above his head. All the birds strangely seemed to have both wings that were right. All they could do was keep circling, unable to turn left when in flight. My observations were interrupted by the echoing sound of a gun being fired. I jumped for cover, hoping not to get hit, and when I peeked my head out from behind a tree, I saw that same man aiming a rifle into the air and taking pot shots at those same birds he just released. Plumes of feathers exploding and then gently raining down to the ground. He looked lifeless, as though he was neither enjoying what he was doing nor showing any disdain for his actions. I stared and watched until this man took every last bird from the sky, leaving nothing but silence and destruction. And he turned to look at me. His eyes were empty and they were lost. And before too long, a shadowy figure appeared behind him, dressed in a cloak, scythe in hand. The smell of corruption stung my nostrils, and within an instant, they both disappeared, the gun hitting the ground, joining the creatures it had destroyed. I walked home, whatever contentment I had felt now long dissipated, trying to make sense of what I witnessed unfold before my eyes. I lay staring at my ceiling that night, wide awake, pondering the vivid images that poured inside my skull. I wrote a poem the other week. I wrote it down. No mice nor men made me forget how to put paper to pen. Sadly, it does not capture any whimsical moment. What I did remember to write was that the Grim Reaper does not fear death. It does not worry about who takes their final last breath. It does not fear any weapon or any bullet. It does not care about the trigger or who happens to pull it. It takes no responsibility for the destruction it reaps from. Souls are collateral, just as long as we succumb. I just want to go back and sit in the park, or better yet, live within a utopian ecstasy and merely forget.